I'd like to call the meeting to order. First item on the agenda is review and approve minutes.
We have one set of minutes to approve this month for September of 2024. I noticed that there were some edits to the minutes.
There were just a couple of comments correcting the, at least the ones that I put in there, correcting Conservation Commission to Planning Board.
Yes, and then an indication that a hearing was continued to
Yes.
to the following month.
Yeah.
Those will be amended before.
No, okay,
Would you like a motion?
sure.
I move that we approve the minutes of, what was it, September
September of 2024.
September
17th.
17th of September 24, with the addition of the comments that Alea just mentioned.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next item, sign bills.
There are two bills to sign tonight. One is for a peer review bill for an amendment to the Centec Prologis project. And then the other bill is for the community advocate invoices.
Anybody like to look at those? And then on to meetings and hearings.
We have a new public hearing. Notice is hereby given in accordance with the provisions of General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Town of Shrewsbury Wetlands Bylaw and Regulations, that Mark Roberge, 26 Kingston Street, Shrewsbury, has filed a request to amend the order of conditions for the construction of a paved driveway, garage, and associated site work within the 100-foot buffer zone at 26 Kingston Street.
Good evening. I'm Kate O'Donnell from Ecotech. I'm here with the applicant and property owner, Mark Roberge. So this project was approved back in September of this year, and an order of conditions was issued in October last month. And at the meeting that the project was approved on, the commission requested that the applicant consider a pervious driveway surface, which at the time the applicant had agreed to. But he did misunderstand during that meeting what he was agreeing to, and has since realized that it's a significantly higher cost for a pervious driveway surface. And so we've requested this amendment request to request the commission consider removing that reference to special condition 35 in the permit for the pervious driveway, or if necessary, amending the condition to allow for an alternative type of stormwater management or mitigation if necessary. The project is below the town's 5,000 square foot stormwater management threshold, the 5,000 square feet of new impervious surface, and it's also exempt from Massachusetts stormwater standards because it's associated with an existing single-family house. If you guys have any questions or concerns, I'd be happy to discuss.
Bob?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Diane?
I don't have any questions.
Martha?
Did you have ideas on the mitigation?
Yeah, I mean, if you guys want, trees for mitigation, or if you wanted specifically stormwater infiltration, we were thinking of doing a perimeter driveway infiltration trench. So that would be like a 1 foot by 1 foot area around the exterior perimeter of the driveway, and then filling that area with 3/4 inch crushed stone, which has 40% void space, and that would allow the water to infiltrate into that. If you guys think that's necessary, the applicant's willing to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Chris?
Was the condition that the pavers be installed in a pervious fashion? That's what I wrote in my notes. Or that they be in
The condition
pervious
was that
pavers.
pervious pavement of some type, or
Okay.
an equal equivalent that would be equally pervious, be installed.
Okay.
We had also, we'd also been dealing with that with another hearing that night for 23 Bayview Drive, where we'd had a discussion about permeable or pervious pavers. So there was a lot of pervious
Okay.
pavement getting thrown around. So yeah, there might have been some communication about both. I think we had discussed a pervious pavement option or an alternative that was
Okay.
equivalent for this hearing.
And these trenches would be on both sides of the driveway or just one side?
Yeah, so it would be about 180 linear feet. So I think it's like 70 feet on one side, and then it's an L. I don't know if that's an L, but it's like a
Right.
two 90-degree angles, and I think that amounts to about 180 linear feet.
Okay. No other questions, Ken?
Okay, Aaliyah?
I don't believe I have any questions. No.
Anybody in the audience have any questions? Okay, there being none, we'll, I guess we'll close the hearing.
So, which would you guys? be
We'll probably
conditioning
put the condition in with
for
the trench.
infiltration trench?
Mhm.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda is an RDA, continued public meeting regarding the request of determination of applicability filed by Steve Lucia, 201 North Quinsigamon Avenue, Shrewsbury, for the removal of trees at 201 South Quincy. Is anybody here for this? All right, I guess we'll hold it. We have another continued public meeting regarding the request of determination of applicability filed by David Calhoun, 25 Recreational Drive, Hingham, for the delineation of resource areas at 66-76, 78R 94 and 104 Main Street and 328 North Quinsigamon Avenue. Anybody here for this meeting?
How are we doing? Doug Dillon from Goddard Consulting. I had a bit of a throat cold a week ago, so I don't have my full voice yet back, so you have to excuse me if I'm not as boisterous and loud as I usually am. So as you recall, last month meeting, we had our request, simply requesting to determine, whether the bylaw as well as the Wetland Protection Act were applicable to the collection of properties over there on 104 Main, that sort of a wedge kind of corner off of North Quinsigamon and Maine. The commission elected to retain a peer reviewer in order to verify. We met out there, myself, a colleague of mine, Andrew, Art Allen, and Aaliyah a couple weeks ago. There was a small sort of a pocket, roughly right here. It's on the report that
If you
I
flip your
printed for you
reports to
guys.
the
It's
back, there's a
on
nice map.
Maybe the third and fourth
Peer
page.
review one, yes, exactly.
And so to the satisfaction of the peer reviewer as well as Aaliyah on site, there was a question of, whether or not that may be an IVW, which would be regulated under the Shrewsbury bylaw. In the field, we flagged it out and measured it, again, to the satisfaction of the peer reviewer and the agent. And the square footage of that, we calculated out to be approximately 440 some square feet, which would fall below the 1,000-foot square foot threshold for it to be considered a regulatory IBW under the wetland regulations. So, is there anything, Aaliyah, I guess, that I'm forgetting? Just kind of, I think most of it's in the.
Don't believe so. That
Or-
about covers it.
Are there any questions I can answer from the commission?
Bob,
I have no questions, thank you.
Diane,
No, I have no question.
Martha,
Mm,
Chris,
No questions.
Leah.
Don't believe so.
Anybody in the audience have any questions? All right, I guess we're all set with this then. I guess we should vote on this, all right? Would anybody like to make a motion? This
Sorry, before your
IDA.
motion, I would recommend a special condition just noting the presence of the IVW and that it is non-jurisdictional.
Okay.
So, that a non-jurisdictional isolated vegetated wetland was observed during peer review.
With purple loosestrife and willow, and yes.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I move that we issue a negative determination of applicability for the delineation of resource at 66, 76, 78R, 94, and 104 Main Street, and 328 North Quinsigamond Avenue, with the special condition that a small isolated vegetative wetland was observed, which is, and should be noted, but is not large enough to be jurisdictional.
We have a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, you're all set.
I'm up for the next one as well, so.
Oh, you are? Good, don't leave. All right, this is a new public hearing.
Oh, thank you. Okay, we have a new public hearing. Notice is hereby given in accordance with the provisions of General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Town of Shrewsbury Wetlands Bylaw and Regulations that Yatish Chaya, 12 Bittersweet Circle, Shrewsbury, Mass., has filed a notice of intent for the construction of a one-story addition to a single-family home in the 100-foot buffer zone to an intermittent stream at 12 Bittersweet Circle.
Doug Dillon again. So we submitted for this filing for Yatish, who was kind enough to accompany me today just to see kind of how things go here. It is for a one-story addition as well as a small deck off the rear of the house. The deck itself would be actually exempt from filing an NOI as a structure accessory to residential use in excess of 50 feet away from a delineated wetland resource area, being constructed over currently existing lawn area. However, the actual addition itself would not be, as it is the more substantial portion of the project. And in recognition of the increase in impervious area, we're going to be doing a Coltech stormwater retention system, which I've included the plans for there for you. The movement stream is actually listed on the original lot plans, which I believe I stuck on somewhere towards the end. Yes, as a permanent drain easement. Frankly, it's a constructed, cut-in swale. It is very, it's like about 3 to 4 feet wide, and consistently about 3 feet deep. Just kind of very clearly artificially dug, and obviously the documentation is there to prove that. But obviously, we're going to treat it as something that does in fact convey water, which a cannon does. So in recognition of that, we've designed the Coltech for this project, and we're going to be obviously utilizing a full and extensive ECB system, surrounding the full work limit. All work is going to take place, in far in excess of 50 feet from the edge of the resource area. The entire limit of work is going to be 60 to 65 feet outside of the nearest flag of the resource area. I'll give you guys a quick second or two to browse the packet that I've submitted or the plans. If you have any questions as well, I'm happy to answer them.
Bob?
The Coltech system, that's going to take over all the roof lines? It's going to take the water off the entire house, not just the additions, the whole house you're putting into the Coltech? Yes?
Yes. Yeah, it's going to tie into the existing gutters.
Thank you.
Diane?
So, there's a shed that's in the 15-foot no disturb zone?
Yes, yeah, in recognition of that, in my first site walk, I actually brought that up to Yatish, and I, had a conversation with Lee as well, and that's actually been removed by hand already.
It's been removed?
Yep.
Okay, great, thank you.
Edit, Diane?
Yes, sir.
Martha?
I had a question about the erosion control barrier, recognizing that there needs to be sufficient space to actually work on the construction. At the moment, it looks like the barrier, it follows the 30-foot buffer pretty closely. I wanted a conversation with my fellow commissioners as to whether it should be pulled back a little bit closer to the actual construction site, especially on that upper part.
Yeah, absolutely. Something like the erosion control barrier that's when they place that on the plan, that's kind of given, you know, relatively rough, and obviously we can 100% adjust that to the full liking of the commission, absolutely, so.
Okay,
Yeah, it's not a problem at all.
that's it for me.
Okay, Chris,
No other questions?
Leah?
I did want to note DEP has not issued a file number for this
Right.
project yet, so I would not recommend closing the hearing tonight.
Okay. Anybody in the audience? So, looking like you have to come back next month, can you bring back a plan that shows the ECV closer to the post-work? Martha, how, would you like to have it mirror the building setback line that's on the plan?
Yeah,
purple one?
if that provides enough room to
Yeah.
work.
All right, so if you could move it back to where that building setback line is, and just kind of follow that around?
Yeah.
And that'll, is that okay, Leah?
Do we have details on the construction of is it straw wattle?
Yeah,
The
yeah,
road
like
control?
silt fence and straw wattle.
Okay.
Okay. Right. All right, so will you be asking for a continuance?
Yes, yep.
Okay. Our next meeting is December 17th, correct?
Yes. Is there any chance to include the shed's revised location on a revised plan set as well?
Yeah, has it been disassembled, or is it just moved outside of the house, Detish?
What's that?
Has it been completely removed off-site, or did you move it?
No, shed has been demolished and.
Oh, okay,
Okay, so
cool.
yeah,
Just
disassembled, so-
delete that square then. Cool.
All right.
Okay. Everybody else, we have a continued public hearing regarding notice of intent filed by Richard Tagliani, 167 East Main Street, Northborough, for the after-the-fact permitting of an installation of shed, deck, stairs, cabana, dock, and associated site work at 11 Sunset.
Chris might need to-
So one of the plan sets there is the existing conditions plan from 2024, and one of them is the existing conditions plan from 2010. So this project, there's an open order of conditions from 2010 that we're requesting a certificate of compliance for, and we're providing the 2024 site plan as a as-built site plan of the work that was done in 2010. I'm here with Scott Cassette as well. He's the current property owner. He acquired the property in less than a year ago. And at the time, during the purchase of the property, it was determined that there was this open order of conditions. And it was also determined that there was work completed at the site that wasn't covered under that 2010 permit. And that's why we filed this notice of intent here to get after the fact permit coverage for the site activity that was completed. Since the last meeting, we did receive the DEP file number, and they just had two minor comments. One was to wait for an NHESP determination letter because the work's in priority habitat. We did receive a no-take determination letter from NHESP, so the work did not result in a taking of a state-listed species. And their other comment was that a Chapter 91 permit would be required for the dock and deck that are actually within the lake, in the Great Pond of Lake Quinsigamond, which the applicant does plan to file after the notice of intent process is complete. And at the last meeting, there was some concerns that were brought up from the commission about the existing dock in the water not appearing to comply with the Lake Quinsigamond Commission's dock requirements. And so I wanted to verify this information with the Lake Quinsigamond Commission, and I had a conversation with Peter Collins, who's the chairman of that commission, and based on our conversation, it was my understanding that their commission's concern is with structures that have like concrete footings in the ground of the lake that are permanent footings. And so I went to the site yesterday. I wanted to verify what the condition of the existing docks, footings, and the portions that are actually in the lake, what they look like. And so I have some photos as well if you all want to see. But I was able to see that the legs of the dock are all sitting either on top of a precast concrete block like in photo 1, which is just a block that it helps weigh down the dock so it doesn't float away. Or they were resting on the lake bottom, or some of them were sunk in maybe 2 to 4 inches, which I was able to dig out underneath and verify that those don't have permanent concrete footings associated with those. And you can see in a lot of those photos there that there is like an edge underneath that. So in our interpretation of that, the dock would be considered freestanding and wouldn't be a permanent structure, but we wanted to provide these photos and this information to the commission and get your interpretation of whether you think this dock would be considered compliant, and we're happy to work with you all and do a new dock if you think that it doesn't comply, but obviously we prefer to keep it if it does comply. So happy to hear your comments, any other concerns you guys have. I know this was a big concern at the last meeting, so we wanted to be able to.
It seems like it's a permanent structure in the lake. It seems like it stays there all year long. It doesn't come out.
Right, so I didn't get any information from Peter stating that it has to be removed for the winter, that was the requirement. It seemed to me that the requirement was that the legs have to be resting on the bottom and that the structure couldn't have concrete footings in the lake. I've seen a lot of docks in that area that seem to be the same condition where they remain partially in the lake during the winter.
Okay. Don?
I have several concerns about this property. One being the deck and the dock are permanent structures. They are in the water. They were built, obviously, without permits. We talked the last meeting about having them removed, and I'm still feel that they should be taken out of the water, especially the deck and everything. That's a permanent structure that's in the lake. I mean, it's in the wetlands, it's in the lake. They should come out, and you showed pictures, it appears to be some of that wood's rotted, the bottom of the wood's rotted. I mean, that's obviously gonna cause problems because it's coming apart, so my opinion is they should after the last meeting, have them removed, then we can start over and see where we're gonna go from there.
So the portions that are actually in the lake.
Yes, you've got the deck,
So
the deck
just
part, that's
to
gotta
be
go.
clear, so this is the dock here.
Yep.
And then this right here, there's a deck.
Yeah,
So
and
is your concern all of it or just this portion that runs parallel to
All of it, the part, even the deck part is actually in the wetlands, it's in the water.
in the lake?
In the lake, yes, the water, the
So
high
it-
water mark, it's
It
in
does
the
run
water,
parallel,
yes.
yeah. But again, so all of those footings I'm showing, those are on the bank of the lake. So they're not permanent footings in the lake.
Yeah, deck is a permanent thing. The deck can't be removed, right? If they said it'd have to be disassembled to take out, right?
Mhm.
So it's a permanent structure, it can't be in the water.
It's almost like a taking. You've moved a permanent structure onto the water
Mhm.
of the lake. That's the way I can see it.
Okay.
Diane?
And aren't they both within the 15-foot zone?
Right, I mean, a dock is a water-dependent structure, so it by nature does
And
require.
the deck also is
Mhm.
within the.
The deck is constructed to access the dock. But if the commission's, stating that they want to see the dock, and that portion of the deck removed, we do have a revised plan, this evening to remove the dock from the water and construct a new dock, which I will pass out. One second. the dock is proposed to be removed, and we're taking out about, I think it was 6 feet of that portion of the dock that's running parallel to the bank. And then a new dock is proposed, about 28 feet long and then 10 feet wide at the base. And there's a portion of that area that would have to remain to access the dock. Again, it's a very steep slope, so these decks would be, this portion, there's stairs down right here, and then that area would turn and go down a little bit further to access the dock that would be in the water there.
So what was permitted in the original order and what you are showing now are
So
basically
the
one in
existing
this-
conditions plan or proposed conditions plan actually from 2010 is shown here. It's my understanding that there was an existing dock there at the time, and I believe there was some concrete stairs, but they're not shown on this plan.
Okay. So as part of this order, you are proposing you want to show the
We're
stairway?
requesting yes, these decks that lead down, again, this is a steep slope, so these decks that are existing allow them to safely access where the dock would be right there.
So where the cabana is, the deck, then there's another deck with looks like a set of stairs, then a third deck, and then out to the dock.
Correct, yeah.
Well, it's the lake.
Do you know if there will be a reduction in the amount of like square footage or like of infrastructure that will be?
Yep, so
How much that will
the
be?
379 square feet of the dock will be removed, so that's 379 square feet of land under water bodies. 6 feet of the bank impacts will be removed. 90 square feet from the decks will be removed in the 0 to 15 foot buffer zone. And then I can't do quick math, but 10 times, I don't know, it's another 100-something square feet in land under water bodies from the new dock.
So the new dock is going to be constructed how? Is it going to be the same as what's there? or you're
No,
going
I
to
don't think so.
remove it at-
Scott, what were you looking at?
It's an aluminum
Yeah, I think they're aluminum
poles.
modular,
So you can take them out, move them up on shore
yes.
during drawdown, then put them
Yes.
back in when the water comes up?
Correct.
That's typically what a lot of people do.
Correct.
You'd still have to go to Lake Quinsigamon Commission to get a permit for
Right,
that.
yep. Yep, we wanted to get everything settled here, and then we would do that after that, as well as the Chapter 91 permit with the state.
The only other concern I have is you've got a lot of structures built within that, even within 20 feet of the stuff. You've got multiple decks that are there that I'm sure were not permitted properly to hit through anywhere. I mean, concerned me how close you are with all these different, you've got a shed down there, you've got decks.
Right, and I understand, again, these were done in 2015 when the 30-foot and 15-foot weren't legal considerations at the time. So we're hopeful that the commission would be willing to allow them to remain. They do provide safe access and down that steep slope. The applicant's willing to work with the commission as much as you require, but we are hopeful that that would be permitted to remain.
How about the shed down there? That's really close.
Yeah,
Back out.
that's also partially off property, so if you all would require that, the applicant would
It's
comply.
off property? Who does it belong to?
I think it belongs to Scott, but it's on the property line. You can see that dark black line on the edge there, so
It's on and
it's encroaching on the neighbor's property.
it's encroaching on the neighbors.
In the deck is too. And
So the applicant would be willing to remove that if
yeah, so that means the deck there is also encroaching on the property, all right? The deck, it looks like the line goes right to the corner of the deck also.
it looks like it's like in the lake portion of the property. So,
Well, that should definitely be removed, yes.
Which?
so
The shed down.
The
here
shed.
the shed.
At the
Okay.
That's off somebody, yes, that's in the lake.
And you're saying that these two decks, these are like plateaus that allow you to go down that steep hill safely?
Hmm. It would be very vertical if without any landing.
Actually, I've looked at it. It's scary.
I actually, I didn't realize there were stairs. I walked down the slope when I was first there.
Interesting experience. So,
I slid down.
sure. And these two decks were not allowed in the 2010 decision?
They weren't covered under the 2010
They weren't covered.
permit.
But they were, the decision was to put them in anyway. Right, okay.
It was done by a previous owner, so I'm
Exactly.
not sure what their plan was at the time.
So they took out the stairs going down there, and they put all these decks instead of having the cement stairs going down.
Yeah, very steep stairs, so.
Yes. That's all I have.
Okay,
Yeah.
Martha,
I'm just listening at this point.
okay, Chris,
I think I'm good with you. You did say the shed would
The
have to be
shed,
removed.
yep.
That was one of my concerns, so.
Yep.
Aaliyah?
Sorry, I'm having a hard time seeing and translating it all in
sorry.
my brain. It's okay.
Do you want me to bring
Um,
this closer?
I'll
bring it over.
come lean over my commissioners.
So, you have, that's the shed that we want removed,
Okay,
and then they're gonna remove this.
okay.
All, they're going to, these decks are here, they're going to, I guess, remain. And then they're gonna build a dock out of an aluminum type system,
Mhm.
which can be taken out during drawdown. All this will be removed.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of my concern was the substantial amount of the deck at the bottom, because I understand the inclination to want to be able to get to the water, but once you're at the water, minimizing the amount of impact that you're having.
Mhm.
So that would be this part?
Yeah, this funny little guy.
Remove, it says remove,
Yeah,
they're
so.
gonna
let
remove,
me-
Okay,
you're gonna remove that part?
It would be that 6-foot section that runs parallel.
That's gonna be
Mhm.
And
removed?
then this section would remain as stairs to
Yes,
get
okay.
down to the dock.
okay,
So this shed,
Shed would be
this piece, and all of this will be removed.
correct.
okay. Yeah, my big concern was this odd deck piece, because I understand the dock is probably under the permitting of the Lake Quinsigamond Commission more than it is us. But this where it's, where the water meets the land, minimizing that while maintaining the safety of
Okay.
the homeowner is my big thing.
You said that's 6 feet wide right there?
I think that's what they
Okay.
quantified it as.
Okay. Yeah, but if that's 10, that's probably close to 6 anyway.
So it might be more if it's outside. like, portion.
No, there's no impact.
That's okay.
No, on the structure.
So there's 14 linear feet,
Removing 6, which leaves 8.
Right, okay.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody in the audience have any questions? Yes, sir.
I just wanted.
Can you come right up and
Sure.
state your name?
I'm new to Shrewsbury. I was just questioning the dock scenario.
Can you say your name and whatnot?
Daniel Ford, 47 Lear Street, north. I'm just curious as to how to keep the docks from moving. If the docks are, the water obviously moves. How to keep them,
Some docks float,
right,
so they do move. Some docks have, if the area in front of where the dock is installed is shallow enough, they put legs, posts,
right,
aluminum or wooden, and they go into the lake bottom and they sit there.
right.
And then come fall, they're removed to the shore.
So there's no permanently fixed
No,
piers or anything like that?
no.
If a retaining
Not-
wall is in place, sometimes the dock will be attached to the retaining wall to secure it
Okay.
to shore.
So
Yes,
cantilevered off
sort of, yeah.
something similar like this?
Mhm.
I don't- Isn't, I'm just curious,
Yes.
I'm sorry.
The
Yep.
historic concern was with when the lake would freeze,
Yeah.
the ice would lift the dock and could
Right.
carry it out to, and then
Right.
somebody has to go retrieve it, or it's an
Well, that
open
was-
water hazard, and it's just a whole thing that we
Yeah.
want to avoid.
Yeah, that was my idea, is like, how is there some permanence to that? But I mean, if you get pulling them in and out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
it's
can't be, you
kinda-
can't
you
put a
blunt it.
permanent pier or mooring into the lake.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I guess there aren't any other questions, so with that, I guess we'll close this hearing, and we'll issue the conditions based on what this plan and what was discussed.
Perfect. Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
Okay, we have a continued public hearing regarding notice of intent by Sujay and her, sorry if I didn't say that right, Rent a Home LLC, 13 Morningside Drive, Shrewsbury, for the demolition and reconstruction of a single-family home at 23 Bayview. Anybody here? Oh, there you go, Doug.
I'm just here, Sophie couldn't make it. so,
Yep.
As per the commission's request last time, I believe it was a wood platform and some other structures down there have been designated as to be removed on the plan, and Natural Heritage also got back with their letter stating that the project would not be found to adversely affect species in the area. And I believe all of that has been sent to the commission, so.
Right. Right, we were waiting for that letter,
Yep.
correct?
Yes.
Right. Bob, you have any questions?
No questions.
Okay,
Diane?
so I'm just making sure that what you said is that the shed, everything that's within the 15-foot buffer zone, are you talking about
There's a-
all of
There was a wood sort of platform,
Yep.
and the shed, sort of
Shed.
at the base of a slope,
Mhm.
and they've been, determined to be, to be removed. Will obviously be so.
And the stairs?
Yes.
Okay.
Stairs. I think there was stairs and there were some retaining walls that were staying, existing.
Yeah, the retaining wall, sorry, it's not my project. I was only-
Right, well, we don't want to say something that's.
Yeah,
not-
I was
that
only
wasn't,
brought up to speed.
so-
I believe all the structures that the commission had designated were scheduled as to be removed. So I think
The main structures that had been
The sh-
proposed
the
to be
shed and a
removed
sort of a
were
platform.
the shed and a, kind of a workbench, I guess. It was a wood construction
Yep.
table-y
Potting
sort of
Potting bench or
thing.
something, potting shed.
Yep,
I don't think the proposal had been to remove the retaining walls, especially
No.
because they're holding back.
no, not the retaining wall.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I did look at the stairs, they actually fixed the stairs up, so they're not cracked, they might have actually made repairs to them, so.
right, okay. All right, anybody else have any?
The shed was to be removed, the hand tools, I think you had that condition.
Yes,
That's.
So yeah, the special conditions, I would recommend special conditions reflecting the kind of the changes that we've made to the landscaping plan with additional shrubberies included, and some additional, the ground cover shrubby things, and then the change to the seed mix that was proposed will have, will kind of be an upland mix that incorporates shrubs in it as well, so over time, that hillside will really grow in.
So there are shrubs in the seed mix?
Yes, yeah, there's a couple dogwood species proposed.
And sumac.
Yes, yeah,
Oh, wonderful.
yeah. So they'll be doing
I'm at that.
a number of, let me see, sorry. Things keep getting in my way.
Making a list.
11 American yew were proposed, 11 mountain phlox, which is a small ground cover that will kind of spread and along the ground, and then 29 low bush blueberry, as well as the New England roadside matrix upland mix, which includes several shrubs in seed form.
Are those in the
They'll kinda
planting-
get like
Are those in
a-
the planting plan?
A launch, sorry?
Are those in the planting plan?
Yes, they are all included in the most up-to-date plans that I have.
Okay, is that it?
I think that was it, the landscaping, the removal of the things, and how to remove the things.
And anybody in the audience have any questions? Okay, there being none, we'll close this hearing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a continued public hearing regarding a notice of intent filed by Jonathan Scott on behalf of Prologis, 3350 Peachtree Road, Suite 850, Atlanta, Georgia, for the construction of a warehouse building with associated parking, paved areas, retaining walls, landscaping, stormwater infrastructure at 74 Centec Boulevard, 12 Centennial Drive, 414, 428 Cherry Street, and 46R Clue Street. Is there anybody here from that, for this?
Hey, good evening. John Perry with Langen Engineering, representing the applicant Prologis, here with Greg Hoffsmith from Epsilon as well. Aaliyah, we had sent a short presentation earlier. I don't know if that can be
Yes, 1 sec.
put up on the screen. If not, I can connect.
Out to them, and then I will.
I don't think we're, I think we're good. Keep that lady right there.
Report through real quick.
I think we're, you want me to open it? Want a larger one? Yeah, I think we could use one, sure.
I think one additional thing that we did need was I think I have the old plan set, so we will. Probably after the hearing, but I will need just one of the, everything final
Okay.
plan set.
I think we did send one.
Okay, maybe I just have to look through and figure out which of my, I just gotta play musical plan sets.
Yeah, I'm sure you've got a million of them with the
Yeah.
whole process over the last, 6 months or so, but, we sent one to, Graves.
Okay,
One to, if you don't have it, we can.
Ecotech, okay. You probably sent one to Grafted as well, and
We did,
they're everywhere.
yeah. And maybe we sent one to planning and not to conservation. It could be, we've a lot of paper flying around, obviously, so we can certainly just get you one anyhow,
Yeah,
just so you have it.
okay, there we go.
Okay, excellent. Okay, thank you. So we were in before you, obviously, multiple times for this project. Came in, I don't remember the exact date, but last month at some point. And I think we had satisfied all the comments, all the questions. We had a clean letter from Graves Engineering. But also, in the meantime, the applicant was working with the town select board and town manager on acquiring an easement on the adjacent parcel just to the north of where we had our original driveway. Theory being that lining that up with Fortune Boulevard would be a better solution from a traffic movement standpoint. And we've since acquired that easement, and we've shifted the driveway essentially from where we had it. So on the screen, if you can all see that, this first sheet is just the overall site plan. That blue box is just highlighting, the area that I'm talking about. If you go to the next slide, so this is just a comparison of where we had the original driveway. See in the blue dashed long rectangular area there was the approximate location of where we used to have the driveway. And obviously just to the north of it is the new driveway entrance, which would be, where the truck traffic comes in and where we have our little guard shack there. And as you can see, just across the street where we have the label Fortune Boulevard. So now we'll have more of it'll be lined up better as opposed to having that short offset, which was okay for traffic movements, but not ideal. So this is what we've presented this is what we've submitted in the previous submission from a couple of weeks ago. There is a small isolated wetland that we are within the 100-foot buffer of there, as you can see in that green color, and we're showing the 15-foot no build. I'm sorry, 15-foot no disturb, 30-foot no build in the purple and orange, and then the 100-foot buffer in the green. If Greg, you want to say a few words
Sure.
about the wetland itself and your interaction with?
Yep. Good evening. For the record, Greg Hockmuth from Epsilon Associates. Yeah, when this concept came across my desk, I was asked to go out and investigate the triangular-shaped parcel that parallels the National Grid power line easement to the north, and we did find an isolated pocket of wetlands. Anybody that's walked down the power line sees these puddles that technically meet the definition of resource area in most cases. This was isolated, so it's a bylaw jurisdictional resource area only. It does hold a little bit of water, but certainly not enough like some of the other pools on the site. There's no way this is a vernal pool. We did meet with Ecotech on site on October 23rd to have a look at this, and no flags were moved. We did run ILSF calculations, just, it's bylaw jurisdictional already, but just to determine whether or not it was ILSF, and it didn't meet the definition of ILSF. So we did submit those calculations along with our revised plan set. Not a high-value wetland, but nevertheless a jurisdictional resource area. The good news is we're able to meet the 15-foot no disturb, 30-foot no build, and almost outside the 100-foot buffer from it entirely. Interesting little triangular-shaped parcel. There's an old foundation out here. I don't know the history of the property. It's a block foundation. There may have been a house or a structure there at one point in time. An old driveway, stone walls, but that's it. I'd be happy to answer any questions about the resource area if the commission has any.
Bob?
I don't have any questions.
Diane?
It's not really a question, it's just a statement that even if it's a small, isolated land flooded, subject to flooding, it does have value, right? So I just want to speak up for that.
Yep.
Thank you.
If you go one more slide, I have a few more things just to cover all bases here. This is just zooming in on the area, and it shows the grading in our stormwater plan. And with the revised plans that were submitted, I believe it was October 25th, we also submitted an updated stormwater report, which has since been peer-reviewed by Graves, and they had no issues with any of it. It worked out well, actually, that the property line and the edge of our analysis area from the original submission, where we're showing this kind of blue line that bifurcates the two parcels, is essentially the high point, plus or minus, meaning that the stormwater plan that was capturing, there's a basin C just there, just above what my grading and drainage label there at the bottom, which was capturing the former driveway location, which is now going to be parking, as you can see, is still functioning the exact same way. It's nearly identical impervious area going to that basin, so none of the original stormwater from the site has changed. All we're doing is essentially adding this area, and as you see, we're grading down to a low point in the road here to a couple of catch basins that'll have deep sumps and hoods. The water will flow through a water quality treatment unit to achieve pretreatment, and then into this stormwater basin where it will infiltrate. We're We've actually modeled it and designed it to be like a large bioretention area, so it'll have a soil media for filtration with an under drain to get nice stormwater water quality treatment with an outfall. As you can see, there's a pipe with a riprap level spreader just to the left of the basin there. Next slide. Yep. So just this is the watershed plan. As you see in all the areas there in red, that was our watershed A, which flows to the brook, Bummett Brook. Sorry, to the north. Is that Bummett Brook there, Greg? Summit Brook, I'm sorry. I always get those mixed up. To the north there. So essentially, we were just expanding that watershed area that we had already analyzed and just making sure the peak flow rates and everything still match. So one more slide. Thank you. Yep, and just a quick analysis there of all the stormwater peak flow rates. All of them in the 2-year, 10, 25, and 100-year storm have been reduced still due to our stormwater efforts. And again, no comments from Graves Engineering. So. Oh, this last slide here just shows the new limits of our limit of work and erosion controls. So we'll have a wire-backed silt fence with a compost sock for perimeter controls and any other controls that we feel are necessary in the field, obviously to protect the resource areas. So, that's it. Thank you.
Okay. Bob, Diane, Martha. I know originally when it was first discussed that you mentioned that the possibility of doing this road, so I'm sure that you took the calculations into effect and you kind of knew this was going to happen. I know it makes sense constructability to do that. I mean, lining up the two intersections, so it looks like a good fit. Chris?
Yeah, no questions.
Aaliyah?
I know we had talked previously a lot about the traversability of the larger parking area for the stray turtle. Do you know what curbing mostly is proposed for this new smaller parking area and how that would be? Yeah.
We do propose vertical curbing there, but
Okay.
we'd be happy to put in a few curb cuts.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Yeah, obviously that slope is pretty significant, so it won't be fun for them to climb up that, out of that under,
Sure.
low-ish quality tiny wetland too.
Yep.
But, yeah, that would be my only
Okay.
comment. Cool. I think that would've been it.
So, I guess with that, we've obviously presented the project, I think satisfied all the questions and comments. We've been obviously working towards an order of conditions, I think draft order of conditions. So we're hoping to close the hearing.
Okay, anybody in the audience have any questions? And anybody else on the board have any other questions?
No.
So I guess we'll close the hearing. Okay,
Perfect.
we'll vote on it later on this evening.
Very good.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you. And we have a continued public hearing regarding abbreviated notice of resource area delineation filed at date Calhoun. Sexton Partners LLC, 25 Recreation Drive, Park Drive, Suite 204, Hingham, Mass, for the delineation of a perennial river, inland bank, an intermittent stream at 2834 Cherry Street, 45, 47, and 43, 63 Memorial Drive. Anybody here? Doug, again?
Me again. So this is another one that I'm, representing on behalf of a colleague of mine. I believe, so originally this was submitted around October and November of last year, and obviously given the Shrewsbury Conservation Commission's policy of, waiting on winter-based delineations or applications of ANRADs, there's just a waiting period involved in this one. Peer review was conducted on this with Art Allen, and, all this updated and submitted, all the updated materials have been submitted to the Shrewsbury Conservation Commission. There's some questions regarding a couple flags which were removed. But yeah, to my knowledge, all the most updated materials should be in your hands.
With the construction of what, we don't know what's going on here, naturally, but, I mean, it seems like there's extensive wetlands and riverfront areas. So how do you think that they are going to handle the riverfront?
Obviously, I don't know what's being necessarily proposed there, but, when it does come time for the applicant to propose, any type of work, obviously it's going to be handled with a fully appropriate, NOI with
Right.
the full sort of
Okay.
array of protections given the area.
Well, essentially, I guess our consultant agreed with the lines, and it's been a long time coming to this point, so. Okay, Bob, any questions?
I have no questions, no.
Diane,
No.
Martha, Chris?
I did want to note there were some revisions made to the flags in the field. Those are now reflected on the plan set.
Yes.
All right. Anybody in the audience have any questions? Sir?
Chris Cutler, 11 Hamilton Circle. I think there's only one permanent river listed, and there are really two, and they don't recognize the stream that comes into Big Bummett Brook from the east, crosses the Adams Farm property, leaves the Adams Farm property, and then goes on to the proposed parcel that they have marked with wetlands. I just wanted, that's a substantial stream, probably only carries a quarter of the volume of Big Bummett Brook, but when it was flooded by the beaver dam, it created an enormous wetlands. The dam is now slowly withering and the beavers are gone, so. But it still remains a stream, and it comes off of the hillside east of Adams Farm property and north of the cross street, Cherry Street, that runs all the way to Route 20. Comes off those hills. It's a big enough watershed to create a permanent stream. I think the residual stream.
Can you show us on that?
Sure.
Map where it is?
You can see it right here.
That's good, okay. That's good.
You can see it coming right here.
Mm-hmm.
And it curves around here and then goes off under Cherry Street and up into the hills. And there's a secondary small stream which you guys were involved with very favorably at 54 Cherry when they tried to build a house in it. So this stream curves across our land at Adams Farm, and I live about here, and then crosses off our property and goes into the Cherry Street area. So it's a significant tributary, and it's permanent. And they never recognized it in the whole piece. They have a couple of flags down there. They flagged our part of the land. We never knew they were there until we found the flags. They didn't ask permission. That's all I wanted to make sure.
As far as I know, that is a perennial stream, and it has been designated as such by USGS? It's so that
Yeah, there it is, right there.
right.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I don't know what the name of
Yeah,
it
thank
is, but it
It has no name, and as you can see, it goes off underneath the Thomas Farm Circle area. And there's a smaller one that comes off it yeah, maybe that's it. And goes up into the, just below Cherry Street, across that two houses that were developed a couple of years ago. Anyway, that's the most important part. It all ends up in Narragansett Bay when you follow it down the Quinsigamond River and the Blackstone.
Through that.
Thank you.
Okay, so that, is that where it enters the property? Is it, it was flagged? Was that flagged?
So it was flagged as a wetland, instead of as a river. It might have been because of so when a river meets an impounded body of water, it is no longer considered a river. It becomes, when it kind of starts impounding, it becomes lake, lake, pond, blah, blah, blah. Because of that beaver impoundment, it may have been classified as a BVW. I'm not sure if I can speak to Andrew's.
Yeah, I wasn't, part of this field work, so I wasn't the one who hung these particular flags.
But once it passes the beaver dam,
Yes,
it's
so
a
then it
stream.
would become,
Yeah.
it would become
It's-
stream.
it's a
again. So
river.
Kind of where, probably right in the middle, where it does kind of look, where it has those little marshy guys that look like it is wetlandy, is probably where it's impounded historically by the beavers. But below that, yes, when it meets the other brook and kind of becomes riverine again, it would be considered it would have the 200-foot protection of a
Yes.
riverfront area.
The distance between the impoundment, the dam,
Yeah,
and the confluence of the two.
yes,
At
yeah,
Big Bend, it's
So
about 30
those
yards.
would
It's
be
about
where-
30 yards.
where it would be
So-
considered riverfront area.
So maybe we should have Ecotech take a look at that again, since the beaver dam is now gone.
It's not completely gone.
Well,
It's degrading.
the pond has,
Let
the
me
beaver
see.
impoundment has subsided, right?
It's
What
degrading.
Right, so
But
it's not
it's-
as large as it once
The
was.
impoundment, the water flood is
Right,
gone.
right.
It's back to land.
So maybe we should have Ecotech take one look at that before we agree to this boundary.
Yeah.
They could probably wander out there again.
It will make a big difference.
So that's what I think we'll do. I mean, since this information came up and nobody was really aware of that, I think we should schedule another site visit, since
Sure.
that impoundment has subsided.
Do you have an estimate on the timeline, I guess, of the beaver dam kind of being constructed and,
Sure.
subsequent degradation?
When the original survey was done, November of '23,
Yes, I believe so.
it was completely flooded.
Yep.
2 foot deep. Since then, that year, we put in a beaver deceiver. The beavers were taken out by neighbors on Cherry Street, so the dam started to break down. The water has now subsided and has drained the entire beaver pond, we'll call it, okay? So that sheet of water is gone, the vegetation has come back, and so it's been since last fall. And the beavers were removed. It's taken about a year to drain the swamp. Ooh, that sounds good.
Yeah, I'm looking at the aerials for '23 as well as 2021, and it appears to be flooded on both, like substantially so, and with little to no change on them.
The original survey did not mention the impoundment or the flooding, but it was off the property. On the other hand, the eastern border of the project on the northeast corner off of Cherry Street borders that brook.
So we're gonna have our consultant take a look at it. We're gonna hold this
Thank you.
till he gets back.
Yep.
Till he gets back to us next meeting.
Sure, yeah, I'll relay that to the applicant as well as Andrea. Is there any other questions I can answer for you guys in the meantime as well as,
Anybody else in the audience have any questions? Anybody else on the board?
No. It's a good idea to have it relooked at.
Yeah, you can see the defined
Yeah.
channel
Right. Oh, yeah,
more
absolutely.
now than you.
Okay, so we'll continue this to our December 17th meeting, okay?
Sure.
Thank you.
All right.
Leah, can you do one more pass?
Oh, yeah, of course. Whee! Yeah, you can see where it joins the northern stream. But as you can see historically, and we were talking about this, I think, for the UPS project as well, at least on the Grafton side, they were kind of trying to determine where the stream was no longer a stream because it became impounded.
Right.
But in this case, it doesn't really matter because at the property line, it is a stream.
Yes, yeah.
And was even with the beaver dam there.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, and it only counts for where the impoundment is, and that probably was upstream of the property line,
upstream.
so
Yes,
it should, yeah, the perennial status should reflect.
yes.
It might be good to incorporate a little, slightly more defined path of where the river is perennial on the submitted plans as well. So I'll reach out to Andrew.
Okay. You all set? Okay. All right, we have a continued public hearing regarding notice of intent filed by Dan Ford, 47 Lear Street, for the construction of a garage and pool at 47-51 Lear.
Is there a microphone we should use, or?
I think.
Right.
Either or, those ones are there.
Have a seat. Evening, Mr. Chairman. My name is, Mr. Chairman, board members, and public. My name is David Sadowski. I'm the principal of DJ and Associates. We're out of Clinton, Massachusetts. And I'm here with the owner applicant, Dan Ford. And what Mr. Ford would like to do is put up a garage that will house his RV. He's got an RV that's 37 feet long. And so he needs a garage. He's got a garage that's 40 by 40. He lives at 47 Lear Street. Then the lot next to him is 51 Lear Street. From 1957 to 1982, there used to be a camp located on that parcel. That's why it's got an address of 51 Lear. Paul Gaudet owned this property for a while also previously. So what Mr. Ford is proposing to do is try to put up this garage on the property. So what he's done is he's going to have to apply, he's applied to ZBA also, but he's taken and he's moved the garage so it's only 1 foot off the frontage line to get it as far away from the lake as possible. So it's outside the 15 and outside the 30 zone. He's got an idea of when it does get built in, the grade drops right off. It's a gravel bank in that area. There'd be a walkout underneath the garage with the slab there, and he'd have a small pool in that area, and be able to come underneath the garage a little bit if it started to rain or to store materials or equipment. But he's really trying to do is house the RV. He also has, he works auto body and other things. He's got some classic cars. They would also be stored in this garage to be kept out of the winter elements. This lot was affected by, when 290 went in, part of the lot at 51 was carved off, which made it a smaller lot, which is one of the things we'll be using at zoning because of the change of the lot and the way that it drops and the, so what that has done is compounded what's really there. So what he's tried to do is take the garage, move it as far away from the resource area as possible, and then provide stormwater calculations to capture the 25-year storm completely and recharge it in the aquifer. No work is proposed in the 30-foot or the 15-foot zone. And the wetlands were flagged by Matt Morrow, came down and delineated the wetland on the bottom of the bank. And I guess we're open to any questions.
Bob?
Couple questions I have. He's mentioned he's doing body work. He's gonna be doing body work in that garage.
Oh, no. I mean, these are personal cars. These are cars that are already done. I own a body shop in Worcester.
Okay. And you plan on doing any other type of work inside that garage where you may have oil spill or something? You might have to put an oil separator in there to protect it?
Yeah, I'm not really trying, I mean, I'll work on my own cars, tinker with my own stuff, but nothing as far as like any major, you know what I mean? I'll tear apart a motor and put it back together, but you know, the residual oil that comes off of that, I don't make a mess in my own shop, so I'm not gonna, obviously in my house, I'm not gonna make a mess either.
Okay.
Through the chair, if I could, we did note in the notes section that the garage would never become a commercial garage. It's proposed for residential use only. Note number 5. But that was a good question.
All set?
Yep.
Diane?
Yeah, so the pool is also outside of the 30-foot zone, right?
Yes. Could you talk on the pool too? It's not a huge deep pool either.
No, it's a half in-ground, half, the pool company we'd use, it has a composite style fiberglass pool, so you can put it in-ground, half above grade. So being that the slope is so pitched, part of it would be exposed and the other part would be at walk-in level.
And would that, constructing it like that, would that cause any damage to the slope or any erosion?
It's gonna be on the slab.
Yeah, it would be on a slab, and also there's a big retaining wall there that deals with that presently.
Through the chair, if I could speak. Presently, there's a series of retaining walls already on that slope. I don't know if anyone did a site walk or a site visit there. And one of those retaining walls in that area where the pool, there would be a slab that extends out from this proposed garage. Be about a 10-foot high drop to come down. And on that slab, this pool would basically sit on it, and what is it, like 4 or 5 feet deep?
Yeah,
It's not a huge deep pool. It's just something where there'd be water to go into instead of going into the lake. And it would be right there, would connect over to the side of the house. You could come down the stairs, have a little barbecue, and have some water to go into that would be about 5 feet deep. It's just an area that would be supported by the slab and built into it, and then it would have the retaining wall to keep anything from going down slope.
So I live with my 2 children and 2 grandchildren, so it's sort of like my wife is concerned about the lake. So that's, this is her big.
As a dangerous place where a kid could drown, you mean?
They're nervous of, I'm not nervous of the lake. I like the lake.
She would rather have the kids playing in the pool.
In the pool than,
Uh-huh.
that sort of deal.
And since this garage is gonna be so far up to the front, there's no room in the front to put a pool.
Right.
And this would be like on the back side of the garage. It's up on the screen there now.
Right, it would be facing the lake.
Yep.
Yeah. Give me just a second. You can come back to me.
I have a question about the pool. Is this the type of pool that would need to be emptied in the winter?
No. This is, it's like an above-ground pool.
So
So
it would be
you-
covered and
yeah,
the
you
water
cover
would
it up and-
maintain it? Okay. What I'm trying to get at is if you did need to empty it for repairs or whatever, we would want to make sure that the water wouldn't be emptied into the lake.
Right, no, we're not, no.
Through the chair again, of course. Perhaps we could have a provision written in that anytime the pool needed to be worked on, water would be pumped to a pool.
Truck.
One of the trucks that brings pool water, that would be pumped up into that, and no water would be discharged into the lake. That could be written right into the conditions.
Great.
Is that correct?
I don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm all set.
So actually, I do remember what one of my questions was. How will we know that that the garage won't be a source of like oil or other petroleum products or fluids going into the lake? How will we know that?
Is there any outlet in the, I know sometimes there'll be a
Floor
little
drain.
point in the garage. Is there any?
Floor drain?
Any floor drains
The-
proposed? Or is it just?
Right now, there are no floor drains proposed at all for the garage itself. It's just gonna be a concrete slab.
Okay,
So I mean, if anything, I guess like anyone else that has a garage near the lake, if something did happen in the garage, I mean, if he had a major job, I know what he just said, but earlier, but he would take it down to his garage where all his tools are in Worcester. It's by 25 Mead Street, the permitting office of, it's in that section where there's other auto bodies and everything else by Polar Park, on the backside of Millbury Street, down and through there. There's 5 or 6 different auto body and repair shops. And that's where Dan's had his, and he owns the building there.
Been there for over 20 years.
So I mean, anything major would be done there, but he's got a vintage caddy with suicide doors and a couple other things that are kind of like getting wet all the time because he can't keep them down at the shop because of all the dust and paint and everything that goes around, so it's there outside, so he's thinking of this garage to put up. And like you said, he's got 4 family members, they want to stay in Shrewsbury, they want to be here, and this would be a perfect way if they could get the garage approved. Obviously, we have to go through zoning too, but this is the least obstructive, or the least, this is probably the furthest away we can get from the resource area by proposing it 1 foot off the front line, and try to go with it with zoning, obviously.
Sure.
So, just with bringing the garage to the front of the property line, just where this property's located, we're really close to, see that Quinsigamon Ave, right? Not Quinsigamon Ave. What's
Yep,
the,
it's north.
Yeah, North Quinsigamon.
Yeah.
Quinsigamon Ave. So, obviously we have the highway noise already, but, as far as safety is concerned for my grandchildren and everything else, it'd be more or less of a buffer area from that. We are right there on the cusp of the busy street, and we don't want any incidences in that respect.
You can see the connector
Yeah.
that comes into Lear. Lear was interrupted when 290 was put in, so there's a north Lear and there's a south Lear.
Right.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And that's the connector road that comes in.
So the garage would be oriented, I'm sorry, I'm having trouble understanding the map.
Turn the map sideways.
So it'd be, if I can,
Sorry, let me just pop
Yeah.
this back up.
Permission to approach.
Yeah, of course.
Aaliyah, you can turn that.
Here's an artist rendition. Besides being an auto body man, Dan also was an artist. And basically, this is the existing house.
Yep.
In a greenhouse, and this is the garage.
That's the
where
garage
it
on
would
this
sit,
side.
yeah. And there's
Okay.
a container connection in between, but down here's where that retaining wall is, and this is where the pool would sit, and the garage would be up above with the
And
vehicle.
so the RV would be driven in,
No, it would be coming in this way. This is the lake right
oh,
here.
okay, I get it.
So this is all across.
This direction,
Yes.
got it. Yeah, that makes much more sense. Okay, thank you.
All right, so I'll share this. Sure.
Thank you.
Actually, it's a nice drawing.
Mhm.
This is the existing house. There's flowers and a little bit of area over here with, might be a greenhouse roof or not, but the connector is here, and the garage would sit up above, and the pool area would
Mhm.
be behind this retaining wall right here.
Mhm, mhm.
And that's pretty much what he would like to try to do.
And so you said the RV comes in which way?
Right
From the
through here.
from the
In
street.
there. Okay.
This, you can see right here is the garage. This is the size of it. To get a 37 or 36-foot RV in, the garage needs to be 40 by 40. And then there'd be area for the Cadillac and another car to go into here. Then the swimming pool will be located 10 feet lower than the garage floor on a slab in this area. And it would connect, this would be the house, the way that we were looking at it. So the street itself, the connector road from Quincy comes in right to here, then Lear goes this way.
Maria, did you have any questions about erosion control?
Yes, I did. So it looks like the erosion control barrier kind of encompasses the proposed garage, but you are proposing the Coltech system as well underground, so it would be great to see erosion control be proposed around that, since you'll probably have to dig a hole to get that
Yeah.
into the ground.
Over in this area here.
See the Coltech system proposed to the, what the heck, the west of the house? On the downslope?
there.
Yeah, that one.
He's got erosion control.
All right. These two units, we looked at them and there were some notes from DEP about erosion control chambers within 50 feet of the lake. There's another revised plan beside this one that does not show these two over here. Flow is gonna be directed into the set of 4 over here, and there's gonna be 3 over in this area here. So these two will be removed. That's a good point about the erosion control barrier, but when the DEP said that these should be taken out and not used this close to the lake, we've removed them from the plan.
Okay.
You still want to see that erosion control brought over to the existing house, just to wrap it up?
It might want to enwrap, and then, so at that point, we might want to see a revised plan set submitted that removes that Coltech system if it's not being
Yeah.
proposed. And then a slightly larger erosion control, just so you have extra, because this is, the erosion control as proposed is real tight to the project,
Yes.
and
I
it will be
don't know why.
difficult to
Right.
do it.
Right.
Oh, do you have revised plans?
I don't
Okay.
know why, because now we have the erosion control all the way over to the house.
Oh, fun.
we
I,
have-
for
yeah.
some reason, haven't received that, so yeah, if
Yeah.
you could,
Yeah, we came and those 2 chambers were taken
Okay.
out, the erosion control was.
okay,
continued
there you
all the way
go. You
over.
address the,
to
you
the
address the
house.
comments.
I have a question. Where the existing retaining walls are towards the lake, I know it's it's
Would you mind handing
not
those to
vegetated.
The
Do
commissioner.
you have any plans on planting there or doing landscaping?
I'm sorry, I was listening to the, I didn't.
The question
there's-
was towards the lake where the existing retaining walls are, it's not really vegetated, it's weeds. Do you
Yeah,
plan on doing any landscaping?
I would refer to the botanist in the room.
I'm not, this is one of my titles, soil scientist, civil
Soil-
engineer,
yeah.
land surveyor, maybe,
Yeah.
but not botanist.
Okay.
Sure, we could put together some type of plantings to go, in those areas.
You're not showing any work down towards the water, so you may want to, if you're going to do some landscaping and that's gonna be encompassed into this work, you might wanna put it on the plan so you can do it.
Right,
Yeah, even if you're just grassing, those,
Yep.
a lot of those areas are unstable with that loose
Right.
soil,
Gravel.
so.
You
There-
can see the RV, in that picture, you can see the caddy, sitting up on the road.
Yep. So I would say, since you have to go to zoning anyway, Dave, since you
Yeah.
have to go to zoning, you may want to go to zoning and then, come back to us next month and show us the revised plan, show us some landscaping, show us where we have the plan, but get it so Leah can review it and show the erosion control as she asked.
All right. Yeah, I
It
think
does
that
look-
it does
yeah.
go over there now, but.
Okay.
Yes, I don't know if you want to, I don't like to see the erosion control get closer to the lake, but it is very tight to the structures, and I just have concerns about the ability to build the structure. I don't want to underestimate your contractors, but I also don't want to overestimate your contractors.
Would you, do you want me to go 5 or 6 more feet? Because I, even putting erosion control is work within the 30 foot. How about if we,
Let me turn it to the commission, because I don't want to encourage encroachment further into the lake, but I also realize the
I think
tightness of the site.
it depends upon what you're going to do with your landscaping plan. So if you're proposing to do some landscaping, especially down towards the lake edge,
put the erosion.
put the erosion control downhill, because it's a big slope.
yeah, absolutely.
Or even leave one up, you might want
Yeah.
to leave
How about if we do a double, leave
Do a
one
double
up
one,
at the
'cause you have-
30 and then put some other down
you
below?
have one shown,
As
the way
a
it's shown,
safety.
and then put one down along the lake
Sure.
shore.
Yeah, you might just want, you probably don't need a wattle and silt fence at the top of the slope, but just a wattle to slow that water down as it hits the earth, and then the wattle and silt fence at the bottom to catch all that stuff before it hits the lake.
All right.
Okay.
Through the chair.
May I make a point that, whenever you add landscaping, if your wife is concerned about the kids in the lake, putting shrubs and bushes down there will be a barrier for them too.
Yeah, I mean, she's ready to do her garden and the whole thing, so it's the whole thing.
We'll have to make sure the shrubs aren't too high so that we
Right.
can see the lake.
Well, show,
Oh,
whatever you
just-
plan on doing in that area, just show it on the plan, and that way you're covered, okay? If you're gonna do a garden, if you're gonna do whatever you're gonna do,
Right.
just show it. That
That's an
way
excellent idea.
It's
Thank you.
on there and we know.
I would recommend, we have Shrewsbury has a planting guideline, which includes a significant amount of native species. I can send that over to you if you'd like to.
That'd be outstanding.
We'd love to see native species go along the lake.
Okay, any other questions? Any questions from the audience? All right, so you're going to ask for a continuance till December 17th?
Yes.
Okay, this is continued.
Could I, before we continue, how does the commission feel about the project?
I think if you come back and present what we kind of asked for, I think it looks like any other project in town.
Okay, I just wondered if it looked reasonable or not, that's all.
I think it's reasonable.
Okay, thank you. I didn't ask for a straw poll, I just.
All right,
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
welcome. All right. Has anybody, just want to go back to the ones that I don't think people didn't show up, right, Aaliyah? And I don't think they're here, so. is there-
Yep, just seeing.
There's no one, anybody here from 201 North Quincy? No. And there was another one, correct?
I don't think so.
Oh, there was only one.
That was it.
All right, on to new and old business. Discuss and sign order of conditions.
Okay, well,
So we already did, we did the RDA,
we
right?
did that one.
We did,
and we
so we
had-
closed on Kingston Street.
Did we close on it, or is that continued?
We
Kingston?
did close on Kingston Street.
Kingston's closed? Closed, yep,
Yeah.
okay.
And say-
So, Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we issue an order of conditions for 26 Kingston Street for the construction of a paved driveway, garage, associated site work within the 100-foot buffer zone with, this is for the amending the order of conditions.
correct.
Okay.
Exactly.
And the amendment with the condition that a trench drain be placed on both sides of the driveway in lieu of requiring permeable.
You want to,
pavement.
you want to say how long the trench drain is? I think it was
170.
180 feet,
170 feet?
180 linear feet.
That was to be filled with 3/4 inch stone.
Okay, so all of that.
Okay, any other discussion? Anybody would like to second that?
Second,
Um,
all of that?
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. We have, let's see, the
We
next
did
one.
the RDA.
This is the amended.
Okay.
And then we had,
Sunset?
Sunset, 11 Sunset Lane. Okay, so, Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we issue an order of conditions for 11 Sunset Lane to include removing and replacing the dock, as in the plans, reducing linear feet at the lakefront. I don't remember the.
By 6
They
feet?
had 14 feet,
14
and they were
from
proposing to
14
remove
feet
6
down
feet, so it was
to
8
8
feet.
feet.
Okay.
Okay. And removing the shed that is encroaching on the abutter's property.
And they were they have to go to the Lake Quinsigamon Commission and get
For the
a
approval of the dock.
dock.
And they have to go to the Lake Quinsigamon Commission to get approval for the dock.
I second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 23 Bayview Drive.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we issue an order of conditions for 23 Bayview Drive for the demolition and reconstruction of a single-family home, to include that the shed and workbench be removed, and that the changes to the landscaping as proposed in the revised plans, landscaping and ground cover, be included.
We're gonna add on that hand tools only to remove that.
This should-
Using hand tools only.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Alea, you're gonna have to help with this one.
Let me pull up the special conditions that we have.
This is
Yeah.
Centec.
Do we have to, do we have to list all of them, or just say there's?
I'll kind of walk through them, and then you can issue an order based off of the recommendations made
Okay,
by staff.
all right. And
So,
I move that we issue an order of conditions at 74 Centec Boulevard, 12 Centennial Drive, 414 to 428 Cherry Street, and 46 R. Clue Street, for the construction of a warehouse building with associated parking, paved areas, retaining walls, landscaping, and stormwater infrastructure.
okay.
Special conditions.
Special conditions should include, let me get through the findings.
For measurement, construction entrance.
Yes, so a lot of it have to do with just preventing erosion into the wetland. A substantial number of conditions will reflect the erosion control being installed, the construction entrance being installed, and the kind of the ongoing inspections that will occur with Grafton and Shrewsbury to ensure that the project is continuing without doing detriment to the wetland. There will also be special conditions related to the permeable pavement, its installation and maintenance. Let me see.
And testing.
Snow storage?
Testing for,
Of the pervious pavement.
oh, yes, just to see the effectiveness of the pervious pavement and that it's actually functioning as proposed. There will also be conditions related to the snow storage on site, and making sure that it is not abutting the wetlands.
Native species plantings?
Sorry, so many conditions. Let me go through the,
Well, yeah, I remember a couple meetings ago, we brought up that there was one section that was gonna be paved. What if it was gonna be emergency exit, it was gonna be cut off, it was gonna be paved for fire apparatus and emergency vehicles to go through? It's no longer impervious. You recall a couple meetings ago, we brought that up?
yes, yeah, let me, boy, oh boy, where did I put that on the plan set? Yes, I will confirm that the pervious pavement that was previously proposed is whether or not it will be pervious on the final, or is reflected as pervious or non-pervious on the final plan set. Do you guys wanna speak to that? Was that finally proposed as pervious or non-pervious?
The emergency access
Will be pervious.
pervious.
Okay, so yes, the final, yes, that will be pervious. There are also conditions reflecting the floor drains and the exits of stormwater from the maintenance areas and a shut-off valve for those so that no liquids from the maintenance and washing bays are getting into the wetlands or the basins. And then there's a proposal for flush curbing in the southern parking, the large southern parking lot, to allow passage of critters from each wetland across upland area. And then now there is a proposal to incorporate flush curbing sections within the northern parking area to allow access for the critters.
You can call them wildlife.
Yes, wildlife. I suppose. We could call them wildlife. Oh boy, yeah, yeah. And then, yeah, there's just a lot of the special conditions have to do with the, where areas for stockpiling materials outside of the buffer zones. And then, yeah, the implementation of erosion control.
Do these conditions mirror Grafton's too?
Yes, yeah. I'll
So we can say, when we write this, when we can say as part of the permit that we mirror what Grafton's conditions are too?
Yep.
We include Grafton's conditions with ours?
Yes, yeah. Well, so we won't include Grafton's conditions, but a lot of, when we were working on the conditions together, a lot of the conditions are just altered to reflect the status within Shrewsbury versus the status
Sure.
within Grafton, so.
So
they kind of-
coordinated.
They mirror
Right,
each other
that's what I meant.
pretty well across the properties.
Okay. Was there a condition, if I'm remembering right, to be able to go back at any point to monitor and perhaps suggest improvements as it's being built and perhaps as it in initial operation? Thinking about the situation with the turtles and that we had previously, and learning how wildlife uses the changed landscape.
I don't know. I know, so one of the additional special conditions will be that the potential vernal pools on site will be certified as vernal pools, which Greg will be in charge of. We could incorporate a condition that recommends that he look not just at the vernal pools, but across the site to see if you're seeing any areas where the turtles are getting stuck somewhere, and that it could be recommended that changes could be made. I know, the southernmost area of the parking, is that, I know planning will sometimes suggest that parking areas not be built immediately, and you wait till you find out if you need them to build them. Do you know if any of your parking areas are proposed as such?
There's a portion that is going to be, yes, reserved parking essentially.
Is it that funny arm off the southern parking lot?
There's a few areas.
Okay.
Some that are just like tucked in, there's 2 or 3 here, there's 2 or 3 there. There is most of it is in that southernmost portion,
Yeah.
in Grafton.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, there's 140 spaces called out as
Potential.
reserved spaces
Okay.
that will be built as we see are needed
Okay.
for operation and whatnot.
Yeah, so at that stage, when they're considering whether or not to build, that will be a year or 2 down the line.
So that should be time to see how the site is working from
Yeah,
the surrounding wildlife aspect.
yeah.
May I ask what sort of changes would we be tied to if this was a condition?
So what we're responding to is an incident where a parking lot had been built out, and it turned out to be in the middle of turtle migration pathway, and there was turtle mortality that was discovered after the fact. So this, in that case, it would have been a simple matter of just creating a curb cut at that spot.
And we're catching this on the front end in a lot of areas where we are requiring that you install flush curbing, and install those little wildlife passageways. It would be,
Could we ask for monthly monitoring or something, maybe quarterly? Is there a frequency that works?
I know you weren't proposing any replication within Shrewsbury, but there is proposed replication in Grafton. Is that?
There's a
What,
small one.
replication?
Yes, yeah.
Actually, originally, you're right, but then we relocated it, and it's actually
No,
right
it
on
isn't,
top
right on the line,
of it,
okay.
actually.
Yeah, so, I think that would probably be the opportunity to monitor the entire site for that. It's, yeah, when you're out there collecting, so it might be,
I'm thinking of, frog
Yeah.
mortality during breeding season.
yeah,
The vernal pools.
yeah,
If you go out and you find a lot of squished frogs, that tells you some changes need to be made. Not necessarily physical, but schedule-wise or timing or something. So I like the idea of you're proposing monitoring for vegetative growth, right? And
yeah,
like in the
so
replication,
as
so
part
it
of the
could be
replication
tied to
area, they would be,
that time period.
they would be out there to monitor how
Yeah.
the vegetation is doing anyhow. Typically, we only require an annual report for the vegetated areas, but we could require probably a quarterly report, saying this is how the vegetation was doing, especially if Greg is already out there looking to certify those vernal pools. He's going to be looking for those creatures that will be moving between the spaces. So it might be just part of a,
So we can suggest that during the times that the wildlife is most active in that season, spring, typically it's the spring for turtles and frogs and whatnot, that they monitor that for any, what do I want to say? Any
Mortality or
mortality.
movement, yeah.
So they can monitor the movement and progress of how the wildlife is doing during the spring times
Yeah.
during the spring.
Yeah.
So is that something we can add, okay?
yeah.
Do the turtles that nest there, I don't know these turtles, but, I mean, some turtles, they nest in like June, and then they hatch in July or August.
Or September.
Or September, right?
Yeah.
So it's not just in the spring.
Right, but there's a lot of movement of adult turtles, typically in June.
Yeah,
And so
absolutely.
that would be.
So it would be the
critical
little
time.
guys coming
Little
out.
guys is what, yeah, like in September,
Yeah.
August, September.
Mm. Yeah, and that's not an exact date.
No, it's a general time period.
So we can put a condition and they just monitor the activity of turtles during the progress of work. And
Yeah,
then they
both
can
for-
give us a report during every month or so, included with their monthly reporting.
Yeah, so monthly or quarterly?
However the reporting is going to be done.
Yeah.
They're going to be there monitoring the
Include that.
site on a weekly, daily, monthly basis, and they can take that observance into effect and include it into their report. So we can put that as a condition.
Yeah,
During construction?
Yeah,
For both
for wildlife, turtles,
laying
frogs,
eggs and for hatching.
whatever it is, they can monitor anything that has to do with it. I mean, they're
so
going to be,
an
I would
annual
say-
replication report will be submitted once the replication area is planted and ready to rumble. And then a quarterly, I guess, wildlife assessment will be submitted once construction has begun, and probably through the 2 years that the replication area is being done. Just so that, yeah, you kind of are able to catch those, what's working and what's not working on site.
I think we're more than happy to monitor the site during construction. It'll be a, year and a half worth of construction.
Yeah,
That parking lot, paved areas will be to a point where they're binder and, built.
Mhm.
While everything's being completed on site for multiple months. What makes sense to me would be to monitor the site during construction
mhm,
and, if we find any turtles or other wildlife that we need to add a few more curb cuts, or flush curbing, we'd be happy to do that.
yeah,
I mean, post-construction, when the site is occupied, fully occupied, it becomes more challenging, obviously, to come back and remove curbing and repave and do a project.
yeah, absolutely.
I would say up until the construction phase and everything's stabilized.
Yeah.
And when they remove the hay bales and erosion control, then I would say the site is done,
Yeah,
So probably up until the point where you would move the erosion control.
Right. We'll be doing our weekly SWIP inspections, and I'm sure you'll have, folks out there
so,
do that as well.
do you typically are you typically in charge of the SWIP inspections, or are you already designated as the erosion control monitor, or?
It's still being worked out with the contractor.
Okay,
They might have a third party
okay,
they're using,
yeah,
but we'll be on site too.
yeah, And I'm sure with the scale of project, if planning is not already proposed, typically we do pre-con meetings and then throughout construction meetings. The frequency varies on the state of construction. During the most aggressive part of the construction period, we'll meet every couple of weeks probably, but at the tail ends of it, we meet probably monthly at most to just confirm that everything's staying on track. And that might be a good opportunity to check in on how they're noticing the site is working out and who's moving across it besides them.
All right, so to get back to the way we
Just leave us
started.
with the conditions.
So we got started, so let's get back to issuing the order conditions and getting back to your motion.
To the motion, okay,
Yep.
so, we had started the motion,
Yeah.
and the motion, the conditions should include the special conditions listed by Leah, with the, do we want to call out the wildlife monitoring? On a
Yeah, I think
regular-
that is a change to what has previously been proposed. So yeah, we'll kind of call out the quarterly wildlife monitoring report that would probably be issued
Mhm.
Okay.
during the stage of construction.
Up until the point where the erosion controls are removed.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it'll probably be in the course of issuing, when you go to get a certificate of compliance is when, or when the project is completed and they're going to get a certificate of compliance, they would want to have submitted all of their reports. They're not going to continue beyond that.
All right, so with that being said, does somebody want to, that's been moved and it's been seconded. Did we second that?
I second it.
All right, and all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, so that was the last one.
Correct.
Discuss and sign certificates of compliance. How you gonna?
Oh,
how
I'm
do you-
sorry.
How do you want to handle
How
11 Sunset?
many do you have?
Well,
I have
Martha had.
one.
you
I
have
had a whole
something to sign?
bunch. I think Bob's got them now.
I think there's
They're right here.
4 or 5.
Ugh, Heidi.
Six in total.
so 11
Include
Sunset,
that.
how do you want to handle that, Alea?
2, 3, 4. Well, we closed the hearing.
Yep,
So I would recommend issuing the certificate of compliance, because that's to kind of close out the old work.
old one, and then,
This
then
will be for the new work.
and then if they don't do, okay, so then we have, okay.
Yes, yeah, we have a order of conditions applicable to the project. What are you doing, you silly goose? Let me get a certificate of compliance sheet for you.
Sorry.
So you have one for 11 Sunset, 384, 386
Um,
South Street, and 721 Hartford.
So 384, 386 South Street is the Centec North Park, the construction of the 2 warehouses where the turtle mortalities occurred. They are, I've advised that they are planning to do the second phase of parking at some point, but it is outside of the resource areas, so that will not be done under the order of conditions that's existing. And when I visited the site last week, they still had the silt fence in place, so they will be, they'd like to continue through December, so they have the opportunity to remove that silt fence. I'd also requested just a round of trash pickup while they were out here. So I recommend the closing of 11 Sunset Lane, as we just closed the other order of conditions for that. And then I'd also recommend the closing of 18 Quill Hollow Drive. This was for the construction of the garage with all of the big, beautiful windows, so they could look from their house and see their pretty garage and their cars. The garage is constructed, the grass has grown in, it looks good. Looks like a garage in the woods.
Is that what you're signing now?
Yes.
Okay.
So back to you guys. A draft of the conditions should be available in the next couple days. As you can see, I had a lot of them written down. I will amend as we discussed, and then I'll shoot it to you guys for a final review, and then it will come back to the commission to kind of make any tweaks that you guys tweaked. And then it should be ready for issuance after that.
So the final order will be issued at the next hearing?
No, so the order has been signed off on.
Okay.
Now it's kind of an internal back and forth. I'll send you guys the order of condition, or just the special conditions. I don't send the whole order out, because why? So I'll just send you guys the list of the special conditions for your review. A lot of the conditions do mirror Grafton's. I even put them in the same order that they had them in, just so it'll be, you guys can really look at the documents and stay in compliance on everybody's side. And then we'll just have added in the conditions as we discussed tonight, the quarterly monitoring and whatnot. And then if you guys have any remarks on them, it'll come, you can make those remarks or any recommended changes. Then it'll come back to the commission, we'll review internally, and then the order will just be, like, it's signed, we just have to, like, get it out the door.
If I may, if just anything, special conditions that makes sense, obviously not the entire thing, but if there's anything that is different from Grafton's that's not considered a special condition, we'd see that as well, right? Does that make sense?
I don't know
You
if
were
I
saying you wouldn't
understand.
send the whole thing out, just the special conditions review?
Yes,
If
yeah.
anything doesn't mirror the Grafton's, we'd see that as well.
Yeah,
Something
so I think all of our special conditions, when we were collaborating on the special conditions prior to issuance, we made sure that this includes all of our standard special conditions, and they reflect across the border.
Okay.
So I will send you all of the special conditions that are proposed, and I think there are a couple instances where it doesn't align with Grafton, because there was something funky going on in Grafton that's not happening in Shrewsbury. And that's the only place that they will not. And then it'll just be what we discussed tonight about making sure the turtles can get across the site.
Awesome, perfect, thank you.
But Aaliyah, if we voted on it and we're not gonna change them, in other words, not coming back next meeting, you know?
No.
The order is issued.
Yes, the order is issued.
Okay.
It's usually just that the language reflects as we discussed in the meeting.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
It's just, okay, so the order is issued as of now.
Yes, well,
And we
yes.
just need to, make sure we all agree they are.
yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of just the language reflects the intent that we kind of discussed tonight.
Okay, so it's signed.
Yes, it is signed,
Okay.
and it'll be issued within 21 days, so that is less than our next hearing, so it'll be issued before then.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
All right.
Update?
Anything else? I think the last thing is our 210 South Quinsigamon Avenue. That's the only update that we have. The applicant has requested an extension permit for their order of conditions. It was for the original order was for the reconstruction of a retaining wall at the condos associated at 210 South Quinsigamon. They've finished the construction of the retaining walls, but the grass has not grown in. So they would just like another growing season, wait for the grass to grow.
Okay, and then, 101 North Quincy.
101, oh yes, 101 North Quinsigamon. Why do I still have this with me?
That's where the walls collapsed? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Is that the enforcement order?
Yeah, it's not on here, I just bring it up.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, so 101 North Quinsigamon Avenue, they have been in front of us for several months about the enforcement relating to the failed retaining wall on site. They reached out to me in the last month or two, a representative from Graves Engineering reached out about kind of the history of the site, and he wanted to obtain all of the order of conditions that had been issued previously relating to the project or relating to the property. Several of the orders of conditions that have been issued in previous years were related to the retaining wall. It seems that they have a habit of engineering it just fine, getting it permitted, and then building it just very poorly.
Why?
Don't know. So a lot of the time, that is a common disconnect that I'll see sometimes, where you can hire a top-notch engineer, but if you hire, because you spent all your money on your top-notch engineer, you can't hire a very good contractor, and that that might not translate well. And obviously, we're not seeing the contractors coming to the meetings. We're seeing the front end of the project, and it's not matriculating down correctly to the contractor end of the project. I'm not sure how you would be able to condition that you, like, it's an odd thing to condition to say, hey, hire better folks to build your wall. Because it can be engineered correctly. It can be engineered with the material coming back and then the dirt placed on top so that it doesn't fall over again. And you can do everything right and you can put it on a piece of paper, but that's not translating to the real world. So I think throughout this project, we will just be watching. There will be a lot of monitoring involved throughout when we receive an application. And I reached out to them today about where they're at and when we should hope to hear from them to get this sorted, because now is the time to get it permitted and get it done, because it's through the drawdown is occurring now. You want to get it done before the water comes back.
That's
so
going to happen.
Yeah, it
They
would
should
be
have done that this
difficult.
summer.
Yeah,
The drawdown's-
exactly.
It's down.
Yeah.
The lake is down to drawdown level.
So, but yeah, I think there will just be a lot of, in the eventual NOI that comes before us, we may just want to consider a lot of special conditions relating to very specific inspections and monitoring. And a lot of our stormwater infrastructure, or the stormwater coordinator goes out very frequently. He will be along at every stage of the project when a stormwater permit is in place, so we may want to look at the conditions that they include and how often we're going out. Because typically I'll go out before, when the erosion control is installed, to ensure that it's been installed correctly. And then, I don't typically need to be there for every single, I don't need to be there when they dig the hole in the ground, and when they put the concrete in the hole in the ground, and when they add the house on top of the hole. But in this project, that might be where it is. I'll be there where the erosion control's installed. I'll be there when they remove the old wall. I'll be there when they put in the new wall, and how they're doing the whole thing, and when they're starting landscaping, and what their proposal is. So.
Because there's a lot of dirt they put down that bank and over those walls coming down with that machine. It's going to have to be removed.
Yeah,
There's
absolutely.
A lot of,
and definitely, and how permitting will go to make sure that there's adequate erosion control installed throughout the site, especially with all of those slopes to get down there, will be important. Yeah. But we've never
Hello? Can anyone hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so this is Ann Mervicka from 210 South Quincy. You kind of dealt with us, but I just wanted to know whether we're done.
Yes, so you are all set. We will, I think the commission was amenable to issuing an extension permit.
Right,
Okay.
you're all
Yes,
set.
yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Good night. Have a good rest of the meeting. Bye-bye.
right.
I'm wondering if I just forgot.
Didn't know she was.
Yeah, typically for smaller matters like this, I will recommend that they stay home and watch from home, just so they don't have to sit through our whole thing. I'm not sure if I printed an extension permit sign-off sheet though, so I may have to run upstairs and grab one, and then I will be back.
So we just adjourn?
May I recommend that you review next year's meeting dates while I
did look.
while I run around?
Sure.
One sec, I will get a hard copy of those. Let me just print this darn thing.
You good with next year's meeting dates?
Oh, yeah, I'm perfect with next year's meeting dates. We moved them around so they wouldn't interfere with town meeting as much.
I'm good.
Oh,
with it.
really?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Well, so this year we
May
had,
13.
we had moved them anyhow so that it would be, that at least the spring meeting, the fall meeting was held later than is typical, as you may know, as a town meeting member.
Two different ways.
Yeah, so it would be, normally we would be avoiding it. I think they had just moved it so that they could see if they could get any more information about, specifically about the MDTA zoning. You need to print one-sided, but here.
Martha and I have it, we can,
You have it?
yeah, we,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good with it.
Okay, well,
Do you see them? Do you have
the
the
letter's a
bottom?
little longer on it.
Did she just send it out
Really
this
big,
afternoon or something?
it was on the,
No,
it
it's
was
in
on
the-
the folder.
It was, really, and I didn't notice it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's its own file name.
Yeah, it wasn't in a,
Okay, so I can
wasn't
look
under
at it at
hearings or
home.
anything, yeah.
You can also, I'll pass this to you.
Thank you
I presume that the asterisk on the file deadlines are asterisks because they fall on and around Thanksgiving
Sorry
and
about that.
between Christmas and New Year's.
Yeah, they certainly do.
We'll have to ask.
Next year, we'll know, will Thanksgiving be on the 29th? It's on the 28th this year?
Yes.
Yes, it's on the 28th, or?
Yes, it's on the
It'll be on the
28th.
29th.
I can tell you if it's on the 29th next year.
No, it moves, though.
Yeah, but it'll be on the calendar,
27,
27th next year.
27th?
yeah. All day, it says.
We have a question about what the asterisks mean on the,
So yes, there are a couple of
Calendar.
asterisk ones. Those ones reflect that they don't fall on what would typically be a meeting day. They're either,
their change of the
so we
normal
meet the
schedule.
third Tuesday of the month, and then applications for previous meetings are due the Thursday 2 weeks before the meeting. So any asterisk ones are not that. They're not the third Tuesday of the month, or they're not 2 weeks before the meeting.
Right, so May 13th is the second, probably the second Tuesday.
Yes, yeah, this year it worked pretty well to
Right.
move our meeting to the second Tuesday of the month. I just get a lot of 21-day waiver requests out for applications.
Thank you.
That previous month and the following month. And then there's a couple of filing deadlines that are moved. This year, the filing deadline falls on Thanksgiving. Didn't realize that, so I will be sending legal ads from Long Island. I don't want to do that next year.
No, you don't ever want to do that.
So that one got scooched, and then I think next year's, the January one, the deadline was for New Year's Day, and that's also a holiday, so things that got scooched.
All right,
That's about
Good
it.
with the dates.
anything else?
Okay.
tonight?
Would you like to motion to approve the meeting dates for 2025?
I
Or would you
make a
like to-
motion that we approve the meeting dates proposed for 2025.
Can I second that?
I think you can.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We have a motion to adjourn.
I make a
So-
motion, we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Not too bad.